people will do what you want if you give them what they want. The research that was done with kindergarten children, during their favorite hour of the day was drawing. And then they decided to investigate something and they give rewards to kids that were drawing. And all of a sudden, drawing became less popular. Because when you actually pay people to do something they love, you take away the joy of it. It's not exactly the joy, you take away the responsibility of choosing it yourself, you know?
You take away the choice.
Yes.
You take away the choice, because if I am doing that because I like it.
So if I give you 10 euros every time you play, and I was thinking about paddle now because I know you love paddle.
Yes.
Paddle, I think you will take them.
Yes.
But I think we'll take something away from your independence, you know?
It's about
It's like
freedom.
I'm owning your
Yes.
pleasure now.
My guest today is Dr. Savas Trichas. Savas is an award-winning keynote speaker who's taken the stage all over the world, from Europe to Asia to the United States. He's spoken on TED stages, written for Harvard Business Review, and his books on communication have become bestsellers. For over a decade, Dr. Trichas has collaborated with diverse organizations to improve their communication. His research ranks at the very, very top worldwide for leadership and facial expressions, and his videos have reached millions of views online. Sava, welcome to the show.
Happy to be here, and I'm a big fan of yours.
In this podcast, we believe that leadership is not about job description. It's not about roles. It's a muscle. It's something that you build. What do you think about that?
I think that it's a very correct way to describe leadership. I can think of myself as a people that I was always trying to decode leadership. And at the beginning of that process, I would feel a lack of confidence and that I could never ask somebody to do something for me and be able to feel confident about that. But when I saw people do that and do that in such an elegant way, in a way that people wanted to please the leader, to make them happy, to make them proud of them, I saw that there is a way to create a win-win situation and still be at the area of leadership and followership.
Can someone lead without authority? Or do they need the position? Do they need the title to lead? What do you think?
I think that people can absolutely lead without the authority. I can think of many examples from my childhood, child leaders that they would mesmerize others with their storytelling and with their vibe and with their energy. I think as we say those things, people that are watching us can think of that person that when they enter the room, it's something different. They can feel it. And they lead, and you are absolutely willing to follow. But if you find yourself in an authority position, then you can also lead. You can lead with control, or you can learn to lead by inspiring and motivating and with a vision. So I think we are absolutely going in the direction of every scientist that studied leadership. Are you born as a leader or are you made as a leader?
I think for me is that 1% that the people that they always have the talent and they get born with that, but then all the 99%, I think it's made. It's a skill that you can develop and you can learn. Mm-hmm. And I like the John Maxwell 5 levels of leadership that it says there's a pyramid and they have 5 levels of leadership. And the first one is the position. Mm-hmm. People follow you because they have to. The second one is the permission. People follow you because they want to. And then is the production. People follow you because of the results that you bring in the organization. Then it's people development. People follow you because of what you're doing for them. And then at the top is who you are. People follow you because of who you are. And I think what you're saying is that in the basis of this pyramid, that people follow you because they have to, is where people start leading with rules and forcing and fear. But how successful can this be? I mean, people following you because they have to or because they have to follow the rules.
Would you like to play a game?
Of course.
It's absolutely spot on what you're talking about. Okay, can you cross your hands, please?
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Now, can you cross your hands in the opposite way?
Okay.
Not that
easy.
Not that easy.
Yeah.
Now, what if I ask you to cross your hand every single time in the second way, in the counterintuitive way? What if I told you that you should cross your hands like that? What would you say?
I wouldn't do it unless there was a reason for me to do it, unless there was something to be motivated.
You would resist, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense for you. Yeah. But what if I told you that a recent study of 2025 discovered that you reduced the possibility of heart failure by 95% if you cross your hands in the second way? Would you consider it?
Most likely, yes.
Most likely, yes. If the study is true.
Yes.
Which is not. But what that little experiment proves is that you will only do something if it makes for you. I don't remember who exactly quoted that, but it says, I wrote it down, people will do what you want if you give them what they want. And that's, it may sound like a bit like a manipulation technique, but it's actually not. Because think about it as a very fun problem-solving situation from every single leader. If I have someone in front of me and I want them to do something, I will need to find the path of them finding meaning in what I ask them to do, right? And if I can show you the way to something that will be helpful for you, for your health, for your family, for your incomes, for your vision, for the things that you are planning and you are dreaming, that's true leadership. So it's not about the position. It's not about me making you doing something with control. It's about inspiring you or making you see the path of what is worth for you.
It's about creating meaning at the end of the day, isn't it? I mean, it's about knowing why we do what we are doing, and that makes it important for the other person as well, because sometimes it's important for us, but is it important for other people as well?
And we were talking about authority now, and I wanted to know your opinion. What is the relation of a leader imposing rules or even incentives in the journey of leadership in contrast to not including hard ways and methods like that?
I guess rules, they have to have the reason. I mean, setting rules just for the sake of setting rules, or just because of the insecurity of the leader, it's most of the times it's damaging, isn't it? I mean, people need to understand the reasoning behind the rules. And unless there is a good reasoning, I don't think people that they like to execute, they like to contribute. People like to contribute when they find meaning, but they don't necessarily like to execute. On the other side, how much freedom is too much freedom, you know?
I love it. I think that quote, you need to write it down. How did you say it? Not execute, but people don't like to execute, they like to contribute.
They like to contribute.
Amazing. I'm going to note that down. And there is this wonderful story with colonial India. In 1800, India was still a colony of the United Kingdom, the British. And they had a huge problem with cobras. They would bite people. People were dying because of cobra bites. And then the British thought about putting a bounty on the cobras. That means that you bring a dead cobra in and we give you money for it. And the Indians people started killing the cobras one by one, and the cobras were piling up, dead cobras. And they would get money for it. And at the beginning, it seems to be working. But then the British observed something very striking. Instead of the number of the cobras to decrease, the cobras started increasing. The dead cobras started increasing, But the live cobras started increasing as well.
Oh my God.
And they investigated that, and they discovered that the Indians started breeding the cobras. They started farms. They made a business out of it. Wow. What that means is that we may want incentives and we may want rules, but sometimes they have very, very dangerous workarounds. And in the Indians' story, when the British shut down the bounty, the Indians didn't kill the rest of the cobras. They released it. So the problem became even worse than before. And we have recent example from the cobra effect. This is called the cobra effect. In a telecom company, which they thought about bringing the incentive. If you have telephones that last less than 4 minutes, then we give you incentives. We give you bonuses. We give you extra money. And what happened is that people made the phone calls to be less than 4 minutes. They reduced their effectiveness when they were talking to the customers. They would actually watching at the clock and they would close conversation before they even finish, and the complaints rise. So, if you pay for speed, you get shortcuts, right?
Yeah. And I guess motivation... I speak with many leaders and they are looking for the right motivation for their teams. And usually they seek for the extrinsic motivation, the things outside the people. Mm-hmm. I mean, bonuses, positions, salaries, packages, perks. And those are good, but are they good enough? Because extrinsic motivation, most of the times we get used to that. It's part of our remuneration at the end of the day, isn't it? I mean, then you cannot take it back. Mm-hmm. So you cannot just add on this pile. Mm-hmm. So how about intrinsic motivation? What will motivate? What is motivating people more at the end of the day? And I guess this is the golden question. And many leaders, they really want to know, what am I going to do to motivate my people at the end of the day, if it's not for bonuses or salaries or perks?
Mm-hmm. We actually know the answer of that question. I mean, there is a wonderful book, The Puzzle of Motivation, by Daniel Pink. And he explains inside the research that was done with kindergarten children. And they were kindergarten children, their favorite hour of the day was drawing. And then they decided to investigate something, and they give rewards to kids that were drawing. And all of a sudden, drawing became less popular.
Okay.
Because when you actually pay people to do something they love, you take away the joy of it. It's not exactly the joy, you take away the responsibility of choosing it yourself,
And maybe you take away the choice. Isn't
yes,
it? You take away the choice, because if I am doing that because I like it, for example, if I talk about how good you are to other people, I'm doing it because I feel I add more value to your profession and what you're doing. But if you start paying me for that, I might feel that I have to do it.
Amazing example.
Yeah,
I will stop paying you to say
you
people.
Will stop. Okay.
And I was thinking about paddle now, because I know you love paddle.
Yes.
So if I give you 10 euros every time you play paddle, I think you will take them.
Yes.
But I think it will take something away from your independence, you know?
It's about
it's like
freedom.
I'm owning your pleasure now.
Yes. It's about you taking the power away from me, isn't
yes.
it? And in the beginning, it might look nice, okay? Doing what I love and get paid about it, but we see many professionals removing from their colors because they overdo what they love to do. Mm-hmm. They did too many speeches, too many workshops, too many, and then they start losing the pleasure out of it. You know? Mm-hmm. The other way, I was in a concert, and the singer, she had to she didn't have a show for 2.5 years, and she told us that there was a point that I felt that I didn't have the joy of doing it anymore. So I had to pause. And then after 2.5 years, she felt, okay, now it's time to come back. So it's removing the pleasure from it.
Exactly. And we talked about the extrinsic part, But what we know about the intrinsic part is that people are highly motivated when they have to deal with problems that are bigger than themselves, or if they are working with people that challenge them. So the best scenarios of motivation are those two: bigger problems or people that inspire them. So you are absolutely right on that one. It has to come. It's an inside job.
Definitely. And then leaders are people, okay? And people, sometimes they like to please other people.
Mm-hmm.
How is people pleasing affect leadership? And how is people pleasing affect real impact that leaders can have?
I know what I'm talking about because I'm a people pleaser. And I was a very intense people pleaser until I found out how harmful that can be, especially if you are in leadership position, in positions that people have to follow you. If you want to be a leader, you need to stop looking for your happiness in other people. Other people cannot make you happy, and it's absolutely impossible. Happiness is a 100% inside job. That's the first thing I discovered about people pleasing. Which brings me to the second one. If you want to be a leader, you need to stop trying to please everyone. And you don't have to burn yourself to keep everyone else warm. And another thing that Steve Jobs said, if you want to please everyone, don't be a leader, start selling ice cream.
Okay.
The third one, which is relative to the other two, is that you need to stop regretting about your past. Every moment you spend in the past is a moment you lose from your present and from your future. I mean, you can learn from your past, you can remember and figure out what you're doing next because of your past, but you need to stop regretting about your past. And this is also very important. Very important. It changed my life when I put the past in the right box, you know?
Yes. And you know what? It's very funny because what we tend to do as people is that we judge ourselves for our previous decisions that we took in the past. But what we forget is that we make the best choices at any given point based on our knowledge, experience, and level of awareness. So a year later, we have more knowledge, more experience, and different level of awareness. So when I'm looking back, I'm wiser, hopefully. So if only we always remember that people always make the best choices at any given point based on their experiences, knowledge, and level of awareness in the moment, it creates more empathy to ourselves and previous decisions, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Exactly. And also, we need to stop focusing in the bad possibilities that may happen in our life. And we know that research shows us that 85% of our bad thoughts, bad possibilities that we have in our mind never happen. But what we do know is that when we focus on them, we increase the possibility of them happening.
Yes, self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yes.
At the end of the day, we create our reality.
Think about the waste of energy and the waste of time that happens in our head with that kind of overthinking.
But we get into that overthinking, Savas. We get into that overthinking and sometimes we freeze our decisions, our actions, because we are trying to control the situation, I guess.
I have another game for you about overthinking. Do you have your phone?
I will take yours.
Okay, now I didn't think about that either. Okay, so I want you to throw the phone in there and catch it.
Oh, with your phone? Are you sure?
Yes, with my phone. Yes.
Okay.
Again and again.
Oh my God.
Excellent. Now, what if I told you to do the exact same thing from the 5th floor of a big high building?
With your phone again?
With my phone. What would you do?
Okay. If I care about you and your phone, I will definitely think about it 1,000 times.
Okay.
If I don't?
And if I force you to do it, I bet that you get higher heart rate, your heart rate will increase and you will get sweaty and your body will react to it, right? But that's the same move in a higher risk, in high stakes. And that's exactly what happens in our body when the stakes are high. When we get on a stage to present, when we have an interview, when we have a big date, it's the same situation. It's the same situation. We are the same self, but in a different high stakes scenario.
We have more to lose.
We have more to lose. And we overthink. And that 85% becomes less. We increase our possibilities to sabotage ourselves. And we need to stop overthinking, because sometimes the worst place we can be is in our own head.
Yes.
Okay.
But how do we stop overthinking? I mean, I guess first step is to realize that you're doing it, isn't it?
Vasomu, the best way for me to control, and I mean, we never stop overthinking. We just reduce overthinking. For me, which I was a big overthinker, it was exposing myself again and again and again to those situations that will cause the overthinking. I was a very nervous public speaker, and now I expose myself so much in the public speaking context that the overthinking becomes minimized. Not diminished, but minimized.
So you increase your confidence, you increase your skill set, so you can show up with more confidence and reduce the risk around you. Is that what you're saying?
Expose, create volume in what you are afraid of, create volume in what you tend to overthink, and then things will change for the better. It will never be corrected 100%, but it will get much better.
And then I guess maybe raise the awareness that you are doing it, because some people, or sometimes we don't even realize that we are doing it. We have these feelings, we don't know where they are coming from, but we don't realize that right now I'm in that 85% of my mind wandering around and thinking all the scenarios that will never happen.
Exactly. And I wanted to take you back to another little experiment or game, if you like, because I find it really fascinating. I saw this I'm really sorry, I don't have the name of the person who invented it, because it was a repost of a repost. So I saw that guy doing this and I was mind blown. And I want to try this with you today, okay? I want to show you two circles. So when in the podcast, we can fix it. It's like that. These two circles. And I wanted to start with a statement. Despite of what you might think, these two circles are not equal. Okay? Which one is the biggest, in your opinion?
I think they look equal to me.
But I'm telling you that they are not.
Okay. And I have to choose.
Yes.
I will probably choose... Oh my God, I have no idea. Turn that towards me. I have no idea. I will probably choose the blue one.
The blue one, okay. But your first instinct was that it was? Equal.
Yeah.
The reason why you felt that it was equal, because they are in fact equal. But what I did there is that I forced you to choose something, and my authenticity as the people presenting got you thinking, got you doubting your head, right? And you started actually processing if the truth is your truth or the truth that I'm exposing to you. And this is really interesting for me, because we have all these authenticities in our world. We have world leaders. We have our parents, which tell us stuff, and we believe them without even searching them, or sometimes they're even counterintuitive. But we absorb them because they are the people that we chose to believe. Think about that for a second. If people serve you misinformation again and again and again, that becomes, at the end of the day, part of your reality, right? And if that reality, if that misinformation is embraced by not just one people, but by many people, that's a part of a culture now. And if that culture passes that misinformation from culture to culture to culture, that becomes a tradition.
Of course.
Think about how dangerous that is, to believe in something that is not true for many traditions, from age to age. for many years. Now, where am I getting at? That many people, many times, a leader's job is to change those beliefs because he or she is coming into a business, into a community with new ideas, with new values, with new beliefs, and he's or she is trying to change the things that that are beliefs and culture and traditions, which are very, very strong inside people.
And it's the most difficult thing to do, change the beliefs of people. And you cannot change the beliefs of people just because you have good arguments.
Exactly.
Just because you have a good reason to.
Exactly. In my opinion and from my research, I find that there are two things that a leader can do to change those beliefs and be effective in that. The first is the one I showed you with the cross hands. If he or she manages to connect the path of the people with what they want, and the second is the persuasion. So you either need to prove them that something is different, or you need to persuade them. And we have some techniques of persuasion we can discuss if you want, but we cannot teach everything today.
Yes. and I guess I cannot persuade you when I'm sitting here from a distance. I need to come next to you. I like to say, meet them where they are, bring them where you are. Because if you are far from there, trying to pull them or trying to push them in one direction, then people get resistance, don't they? So what is the number one? Let's say that the game changer technique for persuasion. Okay,
the
if
game
you need
changer,
to pick one.
The game changer, we talked about it already. It was the one with the cross hand. Find the path. If you find that path, everything is easy because they will give you what
will motivate them.
Yes, they will give you what you want if you give them what they want. It's as simple as what's in it for me? That's the game changer. But there are small things, conversational things that you can do, that you can open them up and make them to be more open to change. For example, I see many times people trying to convince others and they are very stiff. But in order to be effective, and we know that from research, is that you must be the opposite of stiff. Yes. You don't need to have the control, you need to give the control. Every time you make it easy for the other side to say no, you make them more open to say yes. Imagine this. I'm trying to convince you about something. Okay, I'm trying to sell you something. I'm trying to close a deal with you. We're negotiating either way. And I'm telling you, Vaso, at any point of that conversation, if you feel that I'm saying something that is opposite to your beliefs or something that bothers you, stop me and we can talk about it in detail. And I don't want you to say yes if you don't feel 100% on board. What do you feel?
You give me the permission. You give me the permission.
I give you the control. You are controlling a conversation. And when you are controlling, you open up. And that, again, I love that technique because it's not manipulation. Yeah. It's honest. I also feel well when I say that. Yeah. I feel well because I give you the control and I'm giving you
the choice again.
Yes, I'm giving you all the power. So if you say yes, it's a win-win situation. If you say no, I can try again or I may leave.
And you know what? People resist because they are afraid of losing something. People resist because they have something to defend or something to justify. So if you give them the control, then they have nothing to afraid of.
Exactly.
At the end of the day.
Exactly.
So now that takes us to one big pillar of leadership, communication. And communication, I believe, is one of the most important pillars in leadership because maybe you have the best strategy. If you cannot connect with people and communicate your needs, that cannot work well for you as a leader.
Yes.
So going back, let's talk about communication and let's talk about this big pillar. What comes to my mind is that I often, and I want to bust a myth with you today because I often listen to that quote that says that communication is 7% words, 38% tone of voice, and 55% body language. But this is not correct. This comes from a research back in '67 by Albert Mehrabian. And the same researcher said that my research was studying something completely different. It was studying just when you say, I'm fine, but your body language says, I'm not fine, which one do you believe most? It didn't talk about how we make conversations in whole. It didn't talk about how we say stories. It didn't say how we motivate people. So, and from my research and my experience, I see that words have a weight. Words, they shape perceptions. And they are important, more important than the 7% that we reproduce again and again and again. What do you think about words and the communication?
I agree with what you said. I mean, yes, body language is a big part of communication, but I think many people misinterpret, as you very correctly put, the work of McBrien. There's no better way to prove that with an example again. Words have meaning. Words have gravity. Words have words vibrate. So one of my favorite quotes ever is that words create worlds.
Oh.
The words we use create the worlds we're living in. There is this wonderful study with waiters. And they put waiters to say 1 out of 2 statements at the end. So they would either say at the end of the meal, I hope you enjoyed your food, or they would say, how was your food? The people that said, how was your food, increased their tips by 17%. How was your food? Think about that for a second. Those minor adjustments in the word, in the sentences, changed their tips. Why? Because the first was a statement and the second was a question. Statements oftentimes create resistance, while questions oftentimes create what?
Yeah.
Answers, right?
Yes.
They are inviting, they are open, they are caring. And that is a major tool for the leader as well. Questions. With questions, you can play, you can investigate it, you can draw answers, you can make people wonder, you can send them into places.
I like to say that questions are doors to people's minds. And maybe you can open, there's another episode about how to make good questions in that podcast, but maybe you can open a small door or a big door. If I ask you, did you like your food? You can say yes or no, that's a small door. If I say, where do you see yourself in 5 years? What's your vision? That's a big door. Maybe I open a door in the past, or maybe I open a door in the future. Maybe I open a door in the problem or a door in the solution. So having this awareness of what kind of door am I opening to your mind, I think it's powerful for leaders, isn't it?
Yes. It's very powerful for leaders, and it's powerful also for self-leadership. And it's funny that you talked about doors and questions with doors, because we have some doors to open now. Now, there is this amazing method in psychology which is called indirect self-investigation. Indirect self-investigation. What we do with that technique is that with indirect questions, we find it easier to discover things about ourselves and about the people around us or in our lives. Would you like to try a couple of those questions?
Yes, let's do that.
Now, the first one
You're
is
smiling. I don't know. Should I be afraid or?
No, you should be relaxed because it's amazing.
I'm relaxed. I'm with you, so I trust you.
The first one is that. Okay. I was watching a movie with my son the other day, and it was that one of those times that we know the bad guy, but the protagonist don't know the bad guy and he's sitting next to him.
Okay.
And my son was
irony.
and my son was screaming at the TV, don't trust him. He's gonna mess you up at the end. Don't trust him. And I was thinking that's amazing. That's an amazing indirect question to find out something. Think about your life, your life movie. Okay, what would the audience scream to you? Scream to Vaso. Think about it. I mean, if you think about it that way, you can find answers. Vaso, don't go there. Don't go with coaching, for example. Stay with leadership. You're amazing at it because leadership will bring things to your life that you are dreaming, you know? And that's a very nice indirect way to discover things about yourself. Because if I ask myself now, what do I want from my life? It's a very hard question to answer. But if I ask, what would the audience watching my life move? Yes, you change perspective.
What is one thing that you change over the years? Your thinking, your mindset. What is one thing that you have changed over the years?
One thing that I have changed is that I managed to control how impatient I was. And that's a key, I think, for many things in at least in our profession. It's a key. So I would be very anxious. Many times I will communicate again and again and again with a customer, and that it's always a bad tactic. You know, it shows that you are not confident and you are needy, and yes. In time I learned that waiting is the better way to go, or don't bother the other side. If they are going to come, they're going to come. That was a very precious lesson for me. And also I learned how to evaluate the timing, because with the experience came if they don't get back in 2 weeks, they're not coming, you know? In my head, it's like that. Yeah. Or if they come immediately, that means you have an edge, you have an advantage in that negotiation. So
I guess patience is another value of leadership, isn't it? Because thinking back, again, my past and other people that I know in leadership positions, the moment that they get into an organization, in a new role, the need for results is there. But can you bring the results without permission, without the connection with your people, without creating the trust and psychological safety in your team? Because you cannot have both at the same time. Patient is a big value for leadership.
Yes, exactly. And it doesn't come easily. You are not born with patience, I think. I think when you're young, usually impatience comes with it. You know, you want everything to come at the time that you are entering the thing, but it's not like that. And life will gladly teach you that lesson.
If you take it, because not all of the people take the lessons. And then I see that when you don't take a lesson, the situation comes again and again and again in different forms, different people, different situations, until you take that lesson. Mm-hmm.
And it goes, even in our cases now, we are talking about patience, how valuable that is. We will also, at the age of 43 and after many experience in that area, I will still get impatient. But it's like intervals, you know. Indirect questions. I have another for you.
Okay.
Try this. Don't answer it, but think about the answers in your head, because it might be private. Who would you give your credit card PIN to? Don't answer, but think about that person, and the audience might try that also. Who would you confess your biggest secret to? And finally, who would you call if you were in real trouble? Now, these indirect questions will immediately reveal to you the people that are very, very important in your life. I suggest when we leave this podcast, call them and tell them how much you love them and what they mean about you. And I bet that if you open up your phone now, in the last 10 calls, you will find all of those 3 people. And that's a very nice indirect way to understand who should you have next to you? But many times we don't think about that. In terms of business and in terms of whatever happens in our life, we let people come in our way. Many times people that track us down, the energy vampires, But if you think about it in that simple, indirect way, the noise clears,
I love it. Yes, indirect questions. You make people think from a different perspective.
Yes.
You make people... sometimes we have some coaching questions like that. Let's say you go back in the balcony and you see yourself, and then you see everything much more clearer.
Yes.
Because you remove the noise, you remove the emotions from that situation, and then you get to see things from different perspective.
Exactly.
Going back to communication, what is your opinion about honesty? Is honesty in communication always the best strategy? Yes, no? What do you think?
In my opinion, yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
And how about, do we have levels of honesty?
Yes,
we can have brutal honesty, hurting people, and that's still okay?
Okay.
Because sometimes I hear people say that, you should be honest with your people, and then they hide behind that honesty thing to say hurtful things for other people.
I have a strong opinion about that. Also, the answer is still yes. But being brutal with your honesty violates another major value I have of being kind. It's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. Okay?
Nice or kind?
Kind, nice. In my head, it's the same. But think about that. If I find something in your podcast, for example, that needs to be improved, and I think that it will help you elevate your game, I will tell it to you, but I will choose the better way to tell it to you. Being honest doesn't mean being rude, doesn't give you the permission to be
rude.
And
yes.
I think you saw me trying to help you with my advice, as I found you were trying to help me with your advice, but we were both being nice to each other, kind. Yes. And when you're coming from a nice place, from a kind and honest place, being kind merges with giving your value and being honest, You know
what I think that takes us to the feedback conversations and how we give feedback. How do we say something if we need to improve something? And people come to me sometimes and they say, teach me feedback techniques. But what we neglect to realize is that in the basis of feedback is the psychological safe environment that you created with that person. For example, if I created the trust and you know that I'm coming for a good place, every time that I say something about your videos and every time that you say something about my videos, I know that you're coming from a good place. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I will much more easily accept your feedback. Mm-hmm. If I have the slightly feeling that you're trying to, hurt me or something, even if you use the nicest way and the nicest technique to deliver the feedback, I will not trust you.
You are absolutely correct. I agree 100% with you. And I will share something with you. I think I never said it publicly. I wrote 2 books, you know that. But what you don't know, I published 2 books. What you don't know is that I wrote 4 books.
Okay.
The 2 never came to life because I gave them to people that I really care about their opinion, which will give me brutal but kind feedback. And they told me, they agreed, it was a consensus, you should not release this out to the public. I was hurt, I was devastated because it took months for me to finish the books. It was a novel, one was a mystery novel and one was a self-development like the previous 2 books. I respected their opinion more than the work that I have put in, because after a while I couldn't understand if it was good or not. But after I read it, I understood why they told me this is not good. So yes, brutal honesty, but if they have the intentions in the right place, as you very elegantly put, I agree. that it's very valuable to.
But you know,
consider.
Savas, when is the limit? I mean, when is just the opinion of other people and we should listen to them, even if they have the best intentions in mind and in heart? And when is it that it's just their opinion and we should go for it?
Sometimes
what's the limit? What's the indication for that?
If I knew the answer, I would get it every single time, but I don't know the answer. So but I know what I do. I will go with my instinct, and many times my instinct goes not with me, but with the people I trust, because I trust experts in their field. So one of the people in the book example was a professional script editor.
Yes.
The other one is my wife. My wife always has very brutal but good intentions. She's always trying to protect me. So in things that I think that she's good at, because she's a bookworm, you know. If she says no for a book, I will trust her also.
If leaders were banned for talking,
yes,
for 1 week,
yes,
they weren't allowed to talk to anyone. How would they lead?
How would they lead? Interesting. Are they allowed to write?
I don't know.
Yeah, they will send texts. They will point, body language. They will delegation, empowering. You know, I used to love the word empowering, and now I hate it. You know why?
Because of the meaning?
Yes.
Yeah,
because people don't need to
realize.
be empowered. They come with power. What leaders need to do is allow them to use their own power, not empower. I will give you power. No. Hire talented people and then get out of their way. Get out of their way. That's the way to lead.
I guess not completely, because then we go back to how much freedom is too much freedom, because people need a sense of accountability, need a sense of guidance, need a sense of, vision, direction, or something.
I agree.
Complete freedom is not leadership, isn't it?
Yes. A sense of direction. But my point is, I have a problem with empowerment.
And get off the way, because and then we discuss about communication, and again, when we discuss about communication, we talk about talking, but I find out that one of the biggest pillar of communication is about listening and not talking. Allowing the space for others to be heard, build a safe environment, and we rarely talking about listening.
Yes.
And I think that if leaders were banned from talking, they could lead by listening, maybe.
Okay, that's very interesting. I didn't see that coming, but it's very good. and I also I can't emphasize enough that communication can be the antidote in some of the diseases of business that are very difficult to cure. For example, toxicity. Imagine toxicity. Imagine how bad toxicity can be in a business environment. And toxic people are like black clouds. When they leave the sky, it's always a beautiful day, and it's a leader job to protect people from toxicity, because when toxicity is tolerated and the leader act like there is nothing, then motivation suffers, right? And if your most dedicated employee suddenly gets silence, most of the times it's a matter of toxicity, because they feel the unfairness in that. And communication will come and correct the toxicity. And if leaders don't get in the way, then all the problems started piling up,
Communication is definitely the solution to a lot of diseases and a lot of cultural things in an organization. And communication is most of the times is the tip of the iceberg. Below the surface is our thinking, our feelings, the inner dialogues we have, the belief systems that we have, and the mindset. How important is the mindset for team leaders? I mean, what would be a good mindset for a leader?
It's extremely important. First of all, I would like to talk about uncertainty, because the mindset comes to tackle uncertainty. There is a research that proves that we are more stressed if we know that we will have 50% chances of getting electrocuted than we know for sure that we will have 100% chances of getting electrocuted. Think about that, uncertainty. So, mindset. A leader needs to deal with uncertainty. First, if there is unstable ground, people will get stressed, and with that stress comes everything bad in a business. And think about the level of uncertainty that comes with our ages. We are dealing with the highest level of uncertainty ever. Yeah. That is why we are watching things that are not good in their businesses right now.
I think this is also a skill, how you can feel comfortable in uncertainty, because uncertainty is our reality nowadays. Mm-hmm. So how you grow your skill in feeling certainty in that uncertain situations, or in feeling at least comfortable in that uncertain situations, because uncertainty will be there for sure.
Exactly. And another thing that we talked about before starting the podcast is how important it is to see what a leader looks like, not in the happy times, but in times of uncertainty and the times of difficulties. And there is this amazing video. Did you see that with the violent earthquake in China?
Yes.
It was in LinkedIn. Yes. So there are a couple of nurses in a childcare home with newborns. And there is violent earthquake. You can see it through the cameras. Everything is trembling. And the nurses, of course, they could leave. But they choose to stay. Nobody's watching. Nobody's watching. They didn't stay there because they wanted to take credit. They stayed there because they couldn't live with themselves if they left and leave those kids alone. And they are carrying babies with them, and they are grabbing to stay safe. And it was mind-blowing for me, because they weren't there for the applause. They were there because of courage. They didn't choose to live. They show us how to live. And what am I getting at? When the ground trembles, leadership stays still. And that's very important to know if you are a follower of that leader. When you see your leader trembling with you, you don't feel safe. But when the ground trembles and you see your leader trying to pick everything together, then you feel safe.
And I guess this is why also some people, they get paid more when they have this experience, because the experience in the organization shows that in difficult situations, they proved. But if you have a new leader, you don't know how they will react in a difficult situation. So I guess this is also something that's very important. If you prove how you deal with in those difficult situations. Savas, if you woke up tomorrow morning with zero confidence, what would you do to turn things around? Because mindset, we said that mindset is very important. Let's say that tomorrow morning you wake up, zero confidence. What do you do about that?
I would try to find situations or people to challenge or inspire me. And I got two of them for you today that will inspire you. They inspired me, and they can inspire the people watching us. The first one was the blind cook, Christine Ha. So that girl at the age of 24, she was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease that took away her vision. She got blinded at the age 24, and she loved to cook. And when she got blinded, the very first day she went to fix a peanut butter sandwich and jelly, and she couldn't make a sandwich. And she was very frustrated, but she started working on the techniques of her cooking with the rest of the senses. And then she figured out some very cool techniques of knowing when the food was ready. I mean, she could hear the sizzling sound of the garlic in the pan, and she would smell and she would understand when it was exactly time to be tasteful. And she practiced her techniques again and again and again. And she was the first contestant in the famous Master Chef that went, and she was completely blind. And guess what? She won the entire damn thing. Amazing. Amazing. And when I think about examples like that...
You have no excuse then.
Yes. What's my excuse?
You have no excuse.
What's my excuse? And there is another story again. A young kid called Jim. He was born with a short arm with tiny fingers in one arm. And he loved baseball. And he played with in the neighborhood with the other kids, but he wasn't very good because he was disabled. And one day, the other kids told him that they were not going to play baseball, but he still went into the place and he found them playing. They were skipping him. They were ghosting
Excluding,
him. Yes. And he went home. He was crying, and his father saw him. He told him, "What does the matter?" And Jim told him that the other kids don't want to play with me because of my hand. And his father, talking about brute honesty, told him, "No, they don't want to play with you because you suck at baseball." It's not because of, if you were good enough, they will get
They
you.
wouldn't care about your hand.
And he told him, "I will work with you and they will want to play with you." And he worked with him every single day. That player is Jim Abbott. And he became one of the most well-respected, most famous, most successful baseball players ever. Jim Abbott. And I'm telling you again, what's my excuse? What's your excuse? What's everyone else's excuse? And this is not toxic positivity. I'm not telling you now, don't worry about that job you didn't get because there are people
you need
hungry
to face
or
the reality.
without. No.
What is it that I need to improve? What is it that I need to do differently next time?
Yes. If people can do things like that, why can't you work on your dreams?
You know what? Persistent is good if you improve at least 1% every single time. Mm-hmm. Because doing the same thing and expecting different results is
insanity.
Is insanity, as Albert Einstein said. But on the other hand, be persistent, but improve. That brings success.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Amazing. And talking about because we are talking about inspiration now, let's not forget about the skill set. I mean, we cannot dream big and, as you said, doing nothing about it, right? And there is this story which captures perfectly what we are talking about now. It's the story with the woodcutter and the axe. And there is this young woodcutter, and he went to work for his boss on his very first day. He was big and strong, and he gave his boss gave him a brand new axe, shiny, sharp, and he started cutting wood, 18 trees at the very first day. That was amazing. And his boss told him, "Well done. You will do good in that job." And he felt proud. He felt amazing. And the next day, he said, "I'm going to make my boss proud again. And I'm going to cut more trees." And he started cutting trees with higher intensity, but he only managed to cut 17 trees. And he was worried. And the next day, he woke up earlier. He said, "I will work more hours to cut more trees." And he only cut 14 trees. And day by day, he tried to work more hours, but the trees decreased instead of increasing. And one day he went to his boss and he told him, "I think I'm not well suited for that job because I try and nothing happens." And his boss asked him, "Have you sharpened your axe at least once?" And the young woodcutter told him, "No, I was too busy cutting trees." And that's exactly what happens to many of us. You know, we dream big, but how often do we stop and wonder if we have what it takes to go where we want. How often do we sharpen our skill? Are we just cutting trees? Are we just focusing on our volume and our speed? But if we are not ready, none of this makes sense. None of all of this makes sense, right?
Definitely. The other day, I was watching a documentary by Taylor Swift, and she was nominated for Grammys, and she didn't take it. And then the other guy on the phone line asked, "Are you feeling sad?" And she said, "No, I need to make a better work next time." So it's about reflecting back. It's not about criticizing our past, but I totally agree, and I loved your story, because if we don't stop, reflect, and see what it is that I need to improve, then you're just doing the same thing, waiting for different results. It's no different than that.
And I love how you are approaching your career, because I know you from the beginning of that era of your career. I know you were in another industry, but I love how because you never settled down, and you never tried to stay where you are and see what you can get with where you are. Remember, we were talking at the beginning of your career, you were at that stage, you were always wondering, you were always trying to level up and skill up and try to decode the game. And that's the way to go with it.
Level up, get out of your comfort zone, and sometimes get out of the loop of being busy. Because again, our podcast is about leadership, but how many team leaders and how many people, they are in the loop of the day-to-day running business, doing things as they have to do, but they never stop, look the bigger picture and see what is it that we need to change. Do I need to automate something? Do I need to improve my skills? Do I need to change something around me or change me?
And you know what perspective I love? To understand the game. It's a game.
It's a system. Right? It's a system. And you need to understand the system.
Yes. And as Robert Nye once said, in order to know who has the higher cards, you need to know what game you're playing. And that's a wonderful way to see the world and to see business. Yeah. Try to decode the situations and play, experiment.
Yes.
So if I'm doing this now, it doesn't work. What do I need to change? And Taylor Swift, it's kind of that what she's trying. I didn't
she's
make
elevating
it this.
The game.
Yes.
She's changing the rules. She's doing all these crazy things.
And embrace the failure aspect. Yeah. If you're not going well, I was telling that to my son the other day. If you're not doing well with failure, you are in the wrong sport, because we play jiu-jitsu. Yeah. You must be able to humble yourself.
Yes.
To understand that failing is part of the game. Not only part of the game, it's the game.
It's a prerequisite.
Yes.
You cannot succeed unless you fail again and again. And either you win or you learn.
Exactly.
Failure is part of the game, but it will be failure if you let it be a failure. Exactly. But if you see it as a lesson, you improve things and you change your approach, then you're much closer.
Exactly. Two tricks about the people that love communication. I have one for more marketing purposes and one for difficult conversation.
Go ahead.
Very fast, I will take it. So 6 psychological effects that are based on communication. First is the framing effect. So how you phrase something dramatically changes how people perceive it. So think about 1% fat something in contrast to 90% fat-free something. Okay? We focus on the big number. So can play with that. The second is the affordability illusion. Think about a gym membership, which is 365 euros, and think about another gym membership, €1 per day.
Of course.
The rule of three, they do that with coffees. So you have one coffee, €6, and one coffee, €3. Most of the times people will buy the €3 coffee because they want it cheaper. That's in a research. But when you have a coffee which costs €7, another one with 6, and another one with 3, people go in the middle. The third is a paradox of choice. The fourth is a paradox of choice. When you have 15 options, 15 packages, Vaso for your speaking schedule or speaking choices, people get swamped. They get overloaded. But if you have 3 major deals, they will get one of 3.
Yes.
The anchoring bias. Think about your favorite jacket or your favorite shoes. They cost 99 euros. Think about another pair of shoes. They were 200 euros, but now they cost 99. You would buy the 99, the second one, right? Because
The
it's a
perceived
bargain.
value.
Yes.
The perceived value. How you perception is reality.
And the endowment effect, which people value best the things that are using first. And LinkedIn will do that 1 month trial in a premium.
Of course.
You know, CapCut will do the same, 1 month free trial. So if you use the things and see what are the perks and what are the good parts about that, it's very unlikely that you will cancel the subscription.
It's more likely because also if you go on a test drive for your favorite car and
Yes.
you drive it and then you have the feeling, you know how it is,
Yes.
then it's much more
Yes, it's okay
easier
to suffer for the next 10 years paying for that car.
All right. Sava, time for a game. Are you
Yes.
ready to play? So I have prepared the game for
Yes.
you. Let's call it the hot seat. Okay?
Yes.
Because
the
I will
hot
give you some choices, some hard choices, some horrible choices that you will probably not want one or the other. But I need no explanation, no thinking, just pick one and let's do it very, very fast.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So keep your best performer or protect the team culture.
Team culture.
Break the rule for the team greatest good or stick to the rules no matter what.
Break the rule.
Break the rule. Lose a client or lose a team member.
Lose a client.
Lose a client, huh?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Tell the brutal truth or keep damaging secret. I know you have already
Brutal
answered that.
truth,
Already
but with
answered
kindness.
that. Hire fast and fire slow or hire slow and fire fast.
Hire slow.
In crisis, as a leader, show vulnerability or project confidence.
Vulnerability.
Vulnerability.
For me.
Yeah. I think for me, it's vulnerability with confidence. But we cannot choose, but...
You didn't tell me that. We can mix and match.
Yeah, okay. Now you can mix and match. But okay, make a decision you regret or regret for not deciding.
Make a decision.
Make a decision. Admit a big mistake publicly or take the responsibility in private.
Publicly.
Publicly? Why publicly?
To increase trust.
Yeah.
Yes, increase trust to the people that know that I did a mistake.
If you have the confidence, because if you're insecure, I guess you would be afraid to admit publicly.
It always depends upon how embarrassed I will be from that mistake. But usually the business mistakes, I think most of them are okay to admit.
Yeah. And it's how you frame it also,
Yes.
isn't it? Okay. Promote loyalty or promote results?
Loyalty.
Loyalty. Okay. Let a toxic high performer stay or lose a major account?
Major account, you know that already.
Lead a small perfect team or a huge chaotic one with big impact?
Kind of leaning to the second.
Okay. Coach a willing underperformer or invest in your star player?
The second one.
Okay. Follow the plan or follow the opportunity?
The second one.
Quit at your peak or stay until you're irrelevant?
I think it's gonna be the second one. I hate doing nothing, so I think you'll see an old guy talking to himself, wandering in the streets.
I don't think you will ever be irrelevant, my friend, because I think you are always constantly researching and learning and upskilling. So I don't think you will ever be irrelevant. Savamu, thank you very much for being here. I have one last question for you.
Yes.
If you were leaving planet Earth tomorrow, going to Mars to live forever and never come back, what would be one message that you would leave to the world behind you?
Okay, are you ready for it?
Yeah.
You can't fix stupid. You can't heal toxic. loving people harder doesn't make them love you back. And over-explaining yourself doesn't mean you'll be understood. The day you realize that, you'll be free.
Salomon,
and you can go
you.
to Mars.
Thank you very much. We are leaving to Mars or to a beach because it's very hot outside.
It was a huge honor, Vaso. As I told everybody at the beginning, I would say it at the end, I'm very honored to be your friend, your collaborator, your guest here today. I admire your resilience and the way you always strive to improve. Keep up the amazing work. I will be watching.
Thank you.